Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to cover the, as Guru Pat mentioned, we're going to cover the sarong, or what's known in the Philippines as malong. And I'm just going to go over a little bit of how this is used and so on. There's several ways that the sarong is worn throughout Indonesia, and then there's a certain way they wear it in the Philippines. Normally the sarong is like a long tube. Most people, what they do is they fold it in half, matching the sides. Then they create this tube. Now some are open, in some areas they're open, they're not in a tube, they're actually cut in half. But once they create this tube, they step into it, and then there's different ways of tying it depending on what area or region or method of preference that they have. So I'm not going to walk you through that. We're just going to go right into some of the uses of it, and then you can look how it works with different flexible weapons. I mean, a lot of different silat systems will have a different flavor as to how they like to use this. When it's also like this, a lot of times they will carry it like this, or they will carry it like this. We'll be working from this, mainly this methodology right here. Now there's several different ways. We're just going to be using it right now to be able to whip with it. Now all you want to do is kind of just press it down here, just guide it down here like this, and just leave a little bundle at the end. Okay, don't hold the end of it because it won't give you the effect you want. When you do this, this becomes tight, this part is loose. When you whip it, that energy will transfer to the end of it. So it'll look something like this. Now if I hold it like this, you'll probably hear a different sound. It's not as strong. So you want it here, and you can just direct this to wherever you want. So it's a little bit hanging, and you whip it out. The way I hold it with the 2 fingers and the thumb, because basically that's how I'm going to end up taking it off, is most likely like this. I probably would swing with it, bring it here, and be able to whip out with it. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have it here. You're going to stretch it out with the thumb. Cover up here. This is a cover, right? You're defending here already. Bring it around. You would hit. You grab it, right? So you grab it when it hits. Bring it here. Leave some hanging out. And just whip it out and bring it back. But make sure you have enough space that you don't hit your training partner. The next one can work 2 ways. And don't look for either one. Just let it happen naturally. So with this one, it's hanging on my side. So I might have gone like this. I might have whipped maybe someone on this side, and now I'm here. Okay, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up. Okay, I'm going to come up, and that's going to give me a reaction. She's going to respond to it by just trying to lean back. When I do that, I'm going to bring it back over. It's either going to hit. Sometimes when I do this, it'll wrap. It'll wrap like this around them. If that happens, just do a follow-up. You control the distance. You can make this tighter, you can make it loose. In other words, I can punch from here, or I can drag them into something, or I can choke, right? Just by now pulling this here. Okay, you okay? When we start applying these, you got to be careful because it gets tight really quick. So start to do them slow. So just have your training partner starts to punch at you, you whip it up, right? You whip it up, and then they're going to go like this, and you bring it down. If it catches them, it catches them. If it doesn't, it was just a whip down. In other words, it was just this. Okay? If it catches them like this, you may not get it with the wind today. Either you punch, okay, or you pull them into something and then create the choke. The choke is simply done like this. One hand in. You can elbow if you want to. Depends on the distance of your sarong, right? I can wrap it to shorten it if I want to. Elbow, in, and pull. You keep it here tight. The hand comes across, and as it goes here, I just take this and bundle it up in my hand and create the choke. But sometimes maybe you're not comfortable with that, so when you do it, when you do this part here, what you can do is bring your elbow up, hit. Oh, you okay? Mm-hmm. Then just open it. So this is the common silat motion, right? That's from one of the jurus. Same thing. It's right from one of the jurus. You have it here, you come up, hit. I'll let this one go. Boom. So remember, I will be hanging on to this one. All right, so just add that to it. Okay, the next one, we're going to hold it like this. And we're just going to wrap it. Okay? And what we're going to do now is there's a technique called, throw a looping punch, called to kick. This is diving hand, right? So when she does this, I'm going to come out with one hand, slap. This is part of the triangular fighting. I slap the back of the head on the triangle, bring this around, bring this out. You okay? Okay. You know how in Sila, a lot of times you see Kambanga, and you know what I'm talking about, where you see the dances? Okay. This is where a lot of these hand motions come from. So, comes in, boom. One comes out, hits the triangle in the back of the head by the occiput, actually. Boom. Wrap it around. And this is all right from the basic Juru's motion. Right? So that's basically the same thing here. Punch. Boom. Same motion as the elbows, just extended. Okay? Oh, sorry. Okay, so let's try that. Wrap it up. Looping punch with the right hand. Cover. Bring it around and choke. Now, when you use the sarong or the malong, right, it does not necessarily mean, punch please, that you can forget your empty hands. You okay?
Yes, sir.
That you can forget your empty hands, right? This is a hit. I may have to hit here to lift them up to bring this around. Now to get out of it, right, because we say you're facing at least 3. I elbow myself out of it. I let go of one part, and I go to whoever the next person is. Does that make sense? Then I may be able to deploy some of my other weapons. So don't forget about the other tools. Okay. Now, these things here, do them really slow because they get really tight. In fact, I'm not going to wrap my sarong that tight. She's going to throw a straight punch at me. All you're going to do is catch it right here and bring it around. And this gets really painful. Right here. You okay? All I did was pull on it. Of course, there's follow-ups in here. I can take this and just create a bar to take her down to the ground. All it is now, a tight bar here to take her down and get her to the floor if that's where I wanted to go with it. One more time. It's here. She punches. Catch and wrap. So punch. And here. Push out and pull. You can elbow and then go into another technique if you want to, because you control the sarong. Okay, this is your control. Now the wrist lock and the choke. You okay? Mm-hmm. Now let's look at it. They throw the straight punch. We do the same move with the left hand, right? Same move, bring it around. It creates the wrist lock. Watch again. Here, bring it up, bring it around, and here's the wrist lock. You okay?
Yes, sir.
You can also do it double. This one comes first. Wrap it. Next one comes in. Wrap it and just pick this up. You just lift this up here, and you create the throw. Okay? So just do those two. First one is now the left hand. Come in, bring it around. See the wrist? That creates the wrist lock. Press and throw. The next one is they throw the 2 punches. Right first. Loop it. Next one, same motion. Loop it. Pick one side up. Just keep this up here like this and bring it over to create the throw. Or you can run them into something. Okay, now we're going to go with it back over the shoulder. Okay, so we have it now wrapped around the shoulder, over the shoulders, so like, cross-side. So she's going to come in with a straight right hand punch, stepping forward with the right foot, right? I'm going to come in, check, and elbow. Here, I'm going to do what's called Puta Kapala or Plinta Kapala. I'm going to bring her across. You can soften this with a rooster kick, which is using the inside bone of your ankle up into the head. As they come across and you're bringing them under, you open your sarong and bring them through. Bring one over and cross and choke. Okay? I can also throw from here if I decide to. Okay? I can also deploy my weapons. I can use her as a shield. Does that make sense? Okay, one more time. Punches. Here. Bring it across. I can do the hit here if I need to. Open the sarong. Bring her through immediately. Shoot over. Pull it across, and I reach across with the other hand. So turn this way. Under, over, and pull the other one across. I can finish with the elbow, right? And then move on to my next person. All right, next technique is a straight punch again, right? But this time I go on the outside. So I go on the outside and hit. We're going to do what's called a reverse. Now this would go like this, right? And once I do that, I bring the sarong across and do the same motion. Choke and elbow, you okay? Mm-hmm. You can even go into the Puta Kapala here, come back, and throw. And just have them choke here. Go into your weapon and you can deploy it if you needed to. Make sense? Okay. Now, our art is based on triangular fighting, so that's what you're doing here when you do these, is you're creating a triangle, and then you're just squeezing that triangle. Their neck happens to be caught inside that triangle. Does that make sense? Okay, you know, this can be used many different ways, right? I'm going to show you another hand trap or an arm trap. Okay, but one other thing you can do is if someone punches at you, right, and they have like a short sleeve shirt, is simply to hook this here and bring them around and create a choke here. Come back here, create your throw, right? Make sense? When he punches, there's the hit. The sleeve is here. All right, so the sleeve was here. You pick them up, scoop them through, choke. You can elbow, come back here, and create the throw. Make sense? Okay. Okay, next technique we're going to look at. She's throwing a straight punch at you, and you're going to scoop it in here and out. Okay, and trap. Watch slowly. Bring it in here, and trap behind the bicep. She's trapped here. Now she can throw the next punch, and we go back to the first one and create the wrist lock. Watch again. Here, throws the next one. In here, create the wrist lock, or come back with the elbow. Come back and create the throw. Oops, still attached. Yeah. Okay, so the first one I need you to get is just this. Slow. You must grab it around the tricep. Now what happens if they get out? You're too slow and they get out. So they get out. Big deal. Take your sarong and put it to use. You whip, you start to use it to choke and so on, okay? You just keep flowing. Okay, one more time. Punch pretty punch fast. Here and wrap. Okay? You can now bring this around. If you want to this way, choke here, turn, create another choke. Okay? Now it's not choking me because of the angle of it is. The way it's around my neck, but it's not choking me. If you look at her, the X is starting to form here. Okay? Makes sense? If I need to, I can bring her back out and go back into the Utthita Kipala. Right? Okay. So here's what you're going to look for. You're going to look for these two. One, and catch. That's one, right? Then the second punch comes in right from the catch, and you're going to loop it like one of the first techniques we did and come to the wrist lock. Now what we're going to do here is once we create the lock, is we're going to use what's called Lanka. And in this case, we're going to use what's called Lanka Ludus, which is a straight line. Press on the wrist and step up, and that's going to give you the boost that you need to create the throw.